And welcome, race fans, to another round of CSRL here via Iracing. We're going to be we are on round number 7 at the Circuit du Mans, or Le Mans, they call it. It's a very popular track. They hold a 24-hour event here. Got a lot of well-known corners and whatnot, so the drivers are going to have a nice time with a little bit of getting through some corners and some nice high speeds, some drafting, all kinds of things are going to happen here. Right now, I am solo at the moment as Carl Hanwork is on his way home. So he'll be joining me here shortly. But we wanted to get everything kicked off and running here as he's getting ready and settled down as he arrives at the house. But we're finishing up qualifying right now. There's a few drivers out there finishing up their last lap right now. Cesar Torres obviously was able to get past the start finish line before the timer was up. So they're able to complete that last lap, and that's what open qualifying does for a league. A lot of leagues just go out and they're like, all right, 3 laps, and they kind of give you a time limit. But this is set up as a 1 hour and 15 minutes of qualifying, so they can get out there, do their practice, and get whatever their best lap is will be their qualifying run. So we're about to finish up as right now you have Caesar running down through the 4 chicanes and then getting around here to finish up. So and it looks like he will get in a time. So we'll go ahead and empty this down here as the results will be here available momentarily. So wait for them to pop up. And of course, when I sit down, I forgot my drink, but that's okay. I'll get it when Carl gets here. All right, so yeah, qualifying is about done here at Le Mans. Going to be here 45 minutes on a pretty lengthy track. It takes almost 4 minutes to get around here. Now, I did see some drivers out there setting some sub 4-minute times, and that's impressive. That's actually really good. So and it's not by just a little bit. We're talking like 3:55 here for a good qualifying run. So I don't know if that's with draft or whatnot like that, but because you can get the draft and work together and possibly get in a really good run or get a tow on somebody down that Muslin straight, which is very, very long and fast. So one little chicane down there, just a little bit to kind of break it up just a little bit. So, but anyways, we are going to get ready here. Come on, results. Trying to see where they're at. They should be popping up. Wonder if we're waiting for Brandon Potts. Let's see if we can pull up the grid. The grid coming up yet? Nope, not yet. Not yet. But we're gonna have a wild one here. Playoffs are coming up here, or actually playoffs, but the end of the season's coming up here as they have a few more races after tonight to continue their points adventure. I know it's pretty close, and Carl will cover that once he gets back. So he'll bring that up for you. He said last minute. He said, "Hey, we mind just in case?" Well, the just in case has happened, so it's okay. There's no sense of rushing. I got it. More than capable. But yeah, the drivers here, they're looking to have a great time here at Le Mans. 45 minutes. It's a very popular track, and it's a ton of fun. Definitely when you're out there in officials, it can be sometimes horrible because people really push it because of the you don't have many laps when you're in an official. You usually get about maybe 6 or 7 or so. So we'll see what they can get in here tonight. But it does look like they're done. The results aren't posted yet, but from what I have on the tower right now, it does look like Craig Jancic will be on the pole over Bryce Rayner, Christopher Hamilton, Herrick Pineda, and Christian Torres for your top 5. Billy Wright, Frank Pisano, Jim Dutton, Devin Young, Jake Mowdy for your top 10. Tyler Torville, Cesar Torres, Steven Santana, Anthony Hutchinson, Dan Marrera back there in P number 15. Glenn Lawson, William Burrell, Todd Terrell, Jason Potts, ran a dilemma back there in P number 20. Then Jay Little, Stephen Pless, Stefan Price, Paul Bailey, and Brandon Potts. So 25 drivers tackling on this track tonight, and it should be a lot of fun to watch. And I'm not mistaken, I think my co-host has showed up in the booth.
I have indeed. Yeah, a little bit longer to get here, but I made it, and it's before the green flag, so I'm ready for some racing action here. As LeMans, I mean, I probably could have been another 10 minutes late, and I wouldn't have missed the first lap. It's so long to get around here. I mean, almost 4 minutes for the lap. It's just it's a beast of a track. I mean, it's certainly not Nürburgring, so it's not the green hell, but this is certainly an iconic track here.
Definitely iconic, and yeah, one of the longest ones out there. I don't know of any other track that is close to that 4 minute mark other than the Nürburgring, which is like 7 or 8. But there we go. Overall, starting grid, as I already went over, so it's up on the screen right now. Obviously, Craig Jancic, Bryce Reiner, Christopher Hamilton, and Herb Pineda, Christian Torres, Billy Wright, Frank Pisano, and Devon Young for your first 4 rows. I'll just kind of leaf through these while they're getting ready.
All right, and while I'm getting all set up here, just want to check on the room name here, make sure I'm looking at the right thing. Well, it's a good-sized field out here. Again, 25 drivers set to take the green flag here. Looks like most of the manufacturers are out here represented as well. 3 Fords at the front, but you got Acura, you got Porsche, Ferrari. Looks like a Lamborghini in the field, a few McLarens, Corvette deep in the field there with Stephen Pless. So a lot of the manufacturers out there, and really the Porsches kind of favored towards the back right here. Christian Ortiz Torres with a good lap there to qualify up in the top 5, but we're not seeing the speed from the Porsches here. We'll see how it happens out there when it comes to race pace. But Craig Jancic on the pole, it's certainly not something that Chris Hamilton wanted to see. He certainly didn't even want to see Bryce Reiner getting in the middle of them two with the points battle that has been brewing this season, and it's been a good one all season. Been very close. Jancic starting to get in a bit of a flow here lately. Got him a 10-point lead over Chris Hamilton, and then another 12 back to Bryce Reiner as they've kind of stepped away from Frank Pisano, Silvio Madrigal, both tied for 4th place, and then the rest of the field following. But this one here tonight, it's if you can get away clean, you can get a good start. You get through the Dunlop curve quickly and safely, and set yourself your sights there on the Mulsanne straight, and maybe you get a good enough start that you can get away from the toe right away. That's ideal. It's really what you want to try and do, but it's not easy, and going through the the Dunlop curve and the first Shilla chicane there is just, it's really tough on cold tires, whether it's these GT3s, LMP2s, no matter what you're running here.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty tough on some of the tires. Obviously, they do get a break. I mean, you get them long straights here in a few areas. And I think that's where the Porsche is like hampering, and a lot of the corners here, they're not just lefts or just rights, which the Porsche is very well at turning. But when you have to switch back and forth, it's when the weight shifts in the car, and it can make the rear end really loose. And that's one a lot of drivers that drive the Porsche. Obviously, we like it, but we always have that little saying. So the Porsche does Porsche things, and that's one of the things it does is when it shifts weights. It's just not the happiest of cars doing that, but definitely makes it an interesting drive for sure on some tracks. And this one here, obviously, is going to be a little bit different with a lot of long straightaways and those switchbacks.
We'd like to thank our sponsors here in the race and for the series, Martin PC and 40 Racewear, as take a lap around the track here, and looks like it's only about a half a lap, luckily, or it would have been about 8-10 minutes worth of our pacing here. But heading now into the 4 chicanes before we get this thing underway, and give me a good one here for 45 minutes. I'm still trying to get everything loaded, and you did say CSRL for the room name, Jimmy, right? Because I see it on the broadcast, but I'm not seeing it on my overlays for some reason. But either way, out of the final corner, single file. We will be racing here at the beautiful Circuit de la Sarthe, also known as LeMans, as already Craig Jancic looking to try and break the toe, but I thought a little dummy there from Bryce Reiner. We'll see if Hamilton has anything to say in these first couple corners. He's got to keep it close, got to keep it tight, got to keep it clean to stay with these front two and keep the Ford dominance here. Is not necessarily a Ford versus Ferrari here tonight. I mean, again, we do have some Ferraris up there, Billy Wright, Frank Pisano in 6th and 7th, but Ford's leading the way here with Jancic, Reiner, and Hamilton, Pineda in the Acura in 4th, Ortiz Torres in the Porsche in 5th, and then your top running M class driver and qualifier Jim Dutton back there in the Ford in 8th place. And then back in 12th, 13th, 14th, you got Cesar Colon Torres, Steve Santana, and Anthony Hutchinson, as Hutchinson battling with Santana.
Yeah, and there's an incident towards the back, but I'll get there and look at it right now. But winding up as they head down one of the longer straights, going down into the speed turn number 11. You gotta be careful. The Mustang does pretty good at taking the curbs, but you got to be careful here, as the first 4 are pretty piled up. Since they're on this next stretch heading down on the next game, let's get a quick look at what happened back at the beginning here. And just I think everybody just kind of piled up. Maybe that's why it kind of showed up. But maybe a check up here. Yeah, just a slinky effect, a little bumping going on before they get going, and that's usually what happens. But back to the action up front here is. Looks like Bryce Reiner getting the move done here and getting around Craig Jancic as he slips back to P4.
Yeah, as you see, Chris Hamilton also jumping up there and getting in the mix. He's now up to 2nd place. Pineda slides up into 3rd. So the Mulsanne Straight certainly working out here tonight. It's a shame that we don't see more drafting. I mean, there's plenty of tracks that we go to that there should be drafting. There should be, the ability to draft and make passes. You look even at like Spa, going down the Kemmel Straight, you should be able to draft and pass somebody, but there's so little draft with these GT3 cars, unfortunately. But here, I mean, the Mulsanne Straight, they're even though you got a couple of the chicanes mixed in the middle, it's still long enough that you can actually get enough of a toe and enough of a draft. As long as you get a good exit out of each of the chicanes there, you can get a good run on somebody. And whether you make the pass on the straightaway or into one of the chicanes, into the Mulsanne corner, heading down into a corner known as Indianapolis, and going a bit wide back there is, I believe it was Brandon Potts or Glenn Lazan back there. Might have been, wasn't. Not Jason Potts. I thought it was Brandon Potts, was a little bit further back. It might have been Glenn Lazan, but either way, at the front of the field, it is Bryce Reiner, Chris Hamilton, Herbert Pineda, Craig Jancic, and Christian Ortiz Torres for your top 5, as Pineda slipping back there a little bit in the battle now for 4th place with Ortiz Torres.
Yeah, just they're obviously battling back there as Jancic is sitting there in P4 and must have just had a little slip up, but everybody there obviously in pretty tight quarters and nobody's getting away. And it's one of these tracks, Carl, obviously you want to get out front and you want to try to win, but that guy behind you does have the toe, and he can hold on. But like if Jancic just got around Pineda, but if he would have got stuck back there and fallen back, they would lose that draft and have a harder time, and it would be thinking maybe a little bit different. Somebody goes wide there just a little bit. That might have been maybe that was I think it was Devin Young. But you talked about the draft here with these cars, and when I first started iRacing, the draft with the GT3s actually was probably too much at times. And I remember running at Spa and being able to chase somebody down like over a second back, a second and a half back, and you just come up on them like they're almost standing still. Like the GT3s had DRS, and that's definitely not the case. So they did tone it down, and it's there, but it's not like it used to be. That's for sure. So you don't get that ability to just catch up to somebody. So I know a lot of times all you had to do is just kind of, if you could run a pretty close lap and get to a straight, and stay within that draft range, you'd catch right back up to the guy. So, but right now, the front two trying to work together just a little bit. They did break away. They're out of that drafting range. They're out 2 seconds. So, as much as Christopher Hamilton probably wants to get around Bryce, well, as long as Bryce is running good laps and I can stay on his bumper, I'm letting him go. We're going to work together and not allow Craig Jancic and to come back. But Craig's going to have his hands full trying to come back on these two if they check out. So we'll see how Bryce, what kind of teammates they are. Is he going to start maybe slowing up just a little bit in the corners, just to kind of let Craig check back in, or is he going to go all out and try to pull away? So you never know. Teammates might help, but I think with Bryce trying to maybe gain some ground and points, maybe not thinking about that option, as they are 2.3 seconds out in front of behind Hamilton there. So, but Jancic's 2.6 seconds back. It does look like he's slightly falling back because he has nobody to work with right now.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, this track is kind of half and half. There's half the track that you're worried about the draft. You just want to kind of tuck in and, not necessarily getting a bad arrow going through the corners, because there's not that many corners. You see the top half of the track there is pretty much all straightaway on the Mulsanne straight. But once you get into the second half of this lap here, once you get into the Porsche curves and the Corvette curves, that's where you're going to feel that you kind of would rather be in the lead, because you're going to get some dirty air and it's going to be really tough to get around through those corners. You have to back them up a little bit to really try and keep it tight inside there. Going through Indianapolis here is not too bad. You can make it through there. It's not going to push on you too much. Into our notch here, it's the same thing and not too bad. It's a slow enough corner that the dirty air is not going to affect you. But now coming into what I consider, the dirty air corridor here, going through the Porsche curves and then through the Corvette curves, because they're such high speed, and you got that air moving around a lot quicker. So, I mean, if you're Hamilton, you'd like to be ahead right here so you can get some good air on the front of that car and help it turn through these corners. But in the same case, you don't really want to get in a battle with Ryder. You almost rather do what he's doing and push him away from Jancic and not allow the teammates to kind of work together and gang up on him again. And doing a pretty good job right now. 2.5 seconds is the gap between second and third as they head out of the Corvette curves into the Ford chicanes here to end this lap. And a lot of time can be gained or lost going through here. You can get really aggressive through the first little set of chicanes there, and then you got to be careful. You want to take some curbing going through the final little chicane there, but you take a little bit too much and it's going to just absolutely launch you. It could even do some damage to your front end.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. Like you said, either do some damage or unsettle that car, and it'll really slow you down. And maybe just a little bit too much curb by the front two of Rayner and Hamilton, as Jancic was able to close up just a little bit. Now down to 1.9 seconds separating second and third. But we'll go back just a little bit. We'll go back to the field here, see what's going on. We got a pretty good battle. We've seen Devin Young have a little bit of an incident early on. He was off the track, but got things going back against it there in Pete, number 7, right behind Frank Pisano in that Ferrari. And ran dilemma. It looks like he says he crashed, so we'll go back and check that out just there shortly. So good battle back here for Pete, number 15. We'll go back. There's another battle here with Jim Dutton. They're not too bad. They're in a Congo line, but they're evenly spread out there back here in 17th. And then back here in 22nd, and that was Dilema there in the old Spice McLaren having an issue. And then I'll just take a quick glance back to see what happened. And maybe just to check. Oh, nope, an actual spin. We'll get together there by the two. Gets lucky.
Ferrari threading the needle right there, and yeah, I mean, somehow ends up being basically a 1.5 car crash there, with unfortunately Ren Dilemma getting the worst of it. But good to see him back out on the track. Still no word if they change the naming of the name could stay the same, just the spelling of the baby over there. But you know, good, yeah, good to see him back out on the track, and hopefully Coda is not keeping away from the rig too much. But certainly, congratulations once again. But out front, it is still Bryce Reiner, Chris Hamilton, and you can see the gap increases down the Mulsanne straight because they can work together in that draft. But a bit of a gaggle back here. Looking at Anthony Hutchinson back here in 10th, so a little bit further back than we're typically used to seeing. We're used to seeing him up a little further in the top 10. Granted, it's still plenty early right now, but currently showing as your AM class leader. As Jim Dutton slipped back a little bit. Not sure if he had any kind of incident there that, I mean, nothing that I noticed looking through SDK. It did have an off track, but I'm not sure if that's... Actually, it looks like that might have been what happened to him. A bit of an off track is what sent him back all the way to 6th place in class right now. Is Hamilton and Reiner. Not sure if they're battling or they're blinking out here because it was kind of jumping around a little bit, but it looks like back together here and drafting all the way down towards the Porsche curves here once again. And so far so good, but you see that Craig Jancic not really going anywhere. Doesn't have any help and still not going anywhere. Only 2.2 seconds behind Hamilton. And this is where Jancic gains a little bit because, again, Hamilton has got to deal with that dirty air. He's got to go a little bit slower through these corners than he would be able to if he had that clean air on the nose like Jancic has, like Reiner does. So he's got to take, maybe a different line to try and get some extra downforce on the front of that car. Doing a good job here as he closes in on the 24, but certainly there's tracks where you can make some late final lap passes. LeMans is not really one of them. You kind of need to get it done. Maybe somebody has a slip up in the Porsche or the Corvette curves, but to make a pass in one of these chicanes, I've seen it done, and you got to have some big ones to do it, but it is not easy to make a pass in those tight little chicanes.
No, definitely not. They're tight. They run them as close to the apex as possible. Typically running them over. Ooh, and a good run
and
here.
Big move here, crossover. As Reiner and Hamilton get together a little bit there, and that's going to allow Jancic to come right back into the battle, almost in drafting range right now. As on board there, Hamilton went for the move on the inside. Not sure if Reiner got loose and came across or not, but looked like they did make a little bit of contact. That's close to a slowdown right there for Hamilton to do. He's got to be careful. But we are going to have a 3-car breakaway here. Is 5.8 seconds between Jancic and Pineda in 4th, as Pineda has got a bit of a battle there with Billy Wright in 5th.
Yeah, definitely battles going on kind of here and there in pockets as they do split up here. Another side-by-side battle here with looks like Santana getting around Hutchison, and this is for position in class. So right now they're side-by-side heading their way down the straight there, getting ready to take that right-hand turn.
And Santana's going to have to back out of it. Hutchinson holds the inside. And he's seen behind there, Cesar Colon Torres trying to figure out which one do I want to follow, going back and forth. And now maybe going to get right behind Santana, push him down this backstretch to try and catch back up to Hutchinson. See him tucked in very close. And it looks like he's going to stay behind him to try and catch them back up, get them into a battle again. Santana maybe looking to the inside here, getting some help. And thought about 3 wide there for a second, but Santana's going to send it on the inside, and he's going to make the pass there for the lead in the AM class. Can he hold it? Just barely. Hutchison just barely keeps it on there, too. It could have been a slowdown for him, but it looked like he kept it within the guidelines, but now he opens up the inside, heading down into the Mulsanne corner for Colon Torres on the inside, very close there between the Porsche and the Ford. And this is a very tough corner. I mean, it doesn't matter if I'm in the GT3s or the LMP2s here. Just picking the braking point here, you're kind of almost jumping on the brakes as soon as you're taking that little bit of a left kink. And you got to try and get it straight as much as possible. And sometimes I know the faster line is around the outside of the little kink there, but for me, I almost tend to try and take it to the inside and almost just angle straight to the outside of the Mulsanne corner so I can break in a straight line and kind of get a little bit deeper into that corner. If not, I know I'm giving up time, but it's all about safety here. I mean, you're going at such high speeds through so much of this track, and heck of a battle we got going here at the back half of this top 10.
And speaking of, being close together and, not wanting to make mistakes, and being in that draft, this is one of those tracks where you don't have the opportunity to fuel save by yourself. So if you can get in somebody's draft and just hang on, you can save yourself quite a bit of fuel here. Even if it's a half a lap, when you go to refuel, it's that much less fuel you need to take in the car. So I'm sure these drivers will be planning that stuff out now as they're here on lap number 4 within 15 minutes. So you see we didn't get very many laps done. We're already at 15 minutes, 30 minutes remaining, so about a third away. And so a lot of those things are going through drivers' minds now, and I wouldn't be surprised if somebody came in maybe a little bit early to get some of that free air. But I like the way things are between some of these pockets where they have the ability to kind of battle with each other. But somebody battling right now. Christopher Hamilton's out front now.
Yeah, he did make the pass about a minute ago on Bryce Reiner. We'll take a look back and see how that happened. Looks like Reiner goes a little bit wide coming out of the Corvette curves, and inside goes actually inside out of the corner, but on the outside of the next chicane is Hamilton, and he's as you like, as he's got the Blue Thunder out there in front. Now we'll see what he does, pushing some air for Reiner, and see if maybe they can get away from Jansen, because you see a little bit of a gap forming here once again.
I mean, it's a lot of pressure to be out front. Obviously, if you make the mistake or if you get a slow down, it can go away. So you can see that
it looks like may have an incident here with our leader in the M class, Anthony Hutchinson. Seen Wayne Burrell had an issue. He jumped into pits, but Anthony Hutchinson back here was in the back half of this battle and goes that's kind of a weird place to lose it right there. Normally you kind of either drift out wide or you're just a little bit too slow through there, but that thing stepped out on him immediately as he turned in. Hard impact into the inside wall, and that's at a pretty good rate of speed. That is definitely going to hurt the chances here for the 2. He's going to need to get that back around and maybe take an earlier pit stop than he wanted here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely not what he wanted to do, and I hate to say it, that normally we're right about the Porsche doing Porsche things. It's it's that weight transfer, and if it's too quick or if the car's not set up correctly, and usually on an open set, you can make those modifications to kind of limit your issues in certain corners. So basically, if I were to make a setup, I would find out what my worst corner is, and I would set the car up probably to the worst corner to the best, without throwing the other corners off, but making sure that I got around my worst corner probably easier than most. But things like that, you can't control here with the fixed setups. But these drivers here do a good job. The Iracing setups are, usually pretty decent, especially for, nobody has to worry about going out and having their favorite setup shop sponsor their car, or going out and getting a special one made for the track or stuff like that. So I know a lot of leagues, and I know I think CSRL does it. I know Core does it as well. We kind of follow the iRacing schedule as far as when it comes down to races, and that kind of gives the drivers the ability to kind of get out there and practice, and maybe not a ton of practice, but to get the chance to kind of get out there and do what they need to do, and maybe get some laps and get them a little more comfortable. And, we talked about lap times here and early on, and the qualifying laps were like a 3:55. Now, like I said, with the drivers kind of having that hour and 15 minutes to qualify, which is a monstrous amount of time, and a lot of leagues will do it. They could have got a really good run. They could have got, a good draft or their teammate or just on another driver out there, and down a stretch where, You might be a tad bit slower by yourself, but right now, fastest lap of the race does look like it's a 1:56.5 by...
3:56.5, that is.
Yeah, 3:56.
Let's say if it's a 1:56, that's a hell of a lap or a lot of corner cutting.
Smoking. I know. You look at these times, and I'm so used to saying like a minute and some change. Yeah, you gotta add a couple minutes. This track is long. I mean, it is a beast when it comes to length and stuff. So, but a lot of corners on it. Up to I think it's has the second most corners of most of, I think of the tracks, other than obviously the Nürburgring. The Nürburgring has 170
plus.
Yeah, it's like 100. The combined version is a 170 plus, and here I think we're at 30 plus. So, which is a lot of lap. I mean, that's a lot of corners, and obviously with the extreme amount of straightaway, obviously right here you're seeing here, and Craig Jancic just kind of he's at that. He's right at the edge of that draft, and it's the point where he could send it in a little farther into these corners where maybe Chris and Bryce, obviously maybe letting up just a little bit early, but I don't know. Might see here. You see Bryce dropping back just a little bit. This could be what I was talking about.
I don't think this is Bryce dropping back. I think this is Craig on a bit of a heater. It's getting close to pit time, so he's starting to make his move and easily around Reiner, as we did have some pit stops already. We had Herbert Pineda, Christian Ortiz-Torres, and for the Pro Class, a bunch of AM Class drivers already into the pits as well. So it's starting to get busy here in pit lane. And we'll see when our leaders decide to come in here. But it's been a pretty good race up front. It's been a 3-car breakaway like we've seen so much. We talked about the Pro Class standings. We'll take a look here real quick at the AM Class standings. And it's a pretty sizable lead from the top two, as we have Anthony Hutchinson just ahead of Steve McLean by 10 points. McLean not in attendance here tonight. But then another... we got another 25 points, so 35 points from the leader back to third place, Cesar Colon Torres, and Cesar Colon Torres has not exactly had a bad season, and maybe tonight is a chance for him to gain a good amount of ground. With Anthony Hutchinson having his issues, he made his pit stop now, so I'm sure he's got a clean car, try and put down some hammer laps. But Cesar Colon Torres right now is your leader in class, and he'd love to make his pit stop and come back out in the lead and maybe have a top finish here tonight to get him right back in that points title.
Does this car have teeth on it?
It's certainly smiling. It's a new paint scheme for sure. I don't remember seeing him in this paint scheme before, and it does look like it's got a big old cheesy grin on the front of that thing.
I need to check it out. Give me a second here. I'm using Carl's layout, and his boxes are in different places than mine, and so it's throwing me off just a little bit. But
the good old rear chase will probably give you exactly what you're looking for in this one. Yeah. As it's getting pretty close at the front. Bryce Reiner back into second place, and you see apparently the horse is angry, as the Mustang is currently,
of course.
Yeah, I mean, well, it apparently is angry, but it's pretty happy as well, as the Ford is currently top 3 in both classes right now. As speaking of top 3, all of the top 3 into pit lane, and the big help here for Hamilton is Reiner has gotten back past Craig Jancic on that lap and gives him a little bit of buffer now. Every one of these guys needs a picture perfect stop here to get back out in their position, or maybe even one higher, as we'll see how everything plays out. Obviously, Craig Jancic on the pole here tonight. He's going to have the last pit stall, so he'll be able to just kind of shoot straight out of there. You see Hamilton hits his mark, Reiner in maybe a little bit tentatively into his spot, and Craig Jancic in as well. As your top 13 cars right now into pit lane. Looks like Stephen Pless also in, so the top 14, Paul Bailey, I believe, is the last one that's got to make a pit stop, as we're here with Chris Hamilton and a longer pit stop, maybe taking some more fuel, maybe planning on an extra lap. this is going to cost him dearly as Reiner and Jancic out and away by a good margin. 2.3 seconds is the gap, and that's going to be tough to make up with no help.
Yeah, definitely. It could have been anything. It could have been Reiner and Jancic fuel saving, you know. So just taking a little bit less fuel. You know, Chris maybe played it on the safe side, but obviously not having anybody to draft. If he did take extra fuel, he's going to need it. But if these two up front did not take extra fuel, they will be relying on each other probably more than Chris will. So we'll see how it kind of pans out here, as it looks like something happened with Frank Pisano. That's what happened here, coming out of the pits.
Oh, comes across the nose of
11.
Christian Ortiz Torres there into the Dunlop curve. Actually, into the chicane right after it in turn number 2, and gets back going there. Doesn't look like too much damage to the Ferrari there, but that is certainly not what he wanted to do. Just coming out of the pits, and it looks like Pisano maybe came back into the pits after that. Not sure if he crashed. Looks like he just jumped into the pits. So not the night that Pisano wanted to have in the 4.
Devon Young continuing to have some issues here. We'll see what happened back here, and just Acura kind of going around here. Maybe downshifting, spinning around. Who knows? Maybe brake bias.
Not the way you want to be facing right there, for sure. Good job getting it turned back around, keeping it off the wall, and gets back going. Going to lose a few spots. He's back there 7th in class, but all the way back there in 16th overall is Devin Young, and he's kind of in a bit of a lull lately. I mean, he's had a really good start to the season, up there in the points, in 4th place in the points coming in, but just kind of haven't seen the speed lately, and has seen some mistakes here and there from the 15. But out front, it is Bryce Reiner, Craig Jancic, most likely working together here, trying to get away from Chris Hamilton. And I got to say, it's working. It's paying off right now. 3.8 seconds in between the top 2 and 3rd place. So Hamilton is kind of stuck in his own little world, because he's got another 7.3 seconds from him back to Herbert Pineda, and then another 3.5 back to Billy Wright for your top 5. So really, inside the top 5, your top 2 are running together. The rest of them extremely spread out until you get back to 7th and 8th place, with Christian Ortiz Torres and Tyler Torville battling back there. And Cesar Colon Torres, after the pit stop, he is back out in the lead. He has got a sizable lead. 6.5 seconds between Cesar Colon Torres and 2nd place Steve Santana, as Colon Torres battling here with Tyler Torville and Christian Ortiz Torres for overall position, not for position in class here. So this is exactly what the 007 needs right now. Hutchinson back there in 14th overall, 6th in class. Just had a bit of an off right there. This is looking mighty nice right now for the 007, and maybe this is the race that Colon Torres needs to get himself back up there in the mix, as we still got a few races left in the season. It is certainly not over just yet.
Yeah, and this would definitely be in the right direction there for Caesar. Is you know, not having a bad race here for Anthony Hutchinson, but you know, out there in the Porsche, you know, and he's been doing great all season long, and maybe the options on the 2 cars, because CSRL does kind of hunker down just a little bit, not just one car, but they have the ability to select one or the other car, and if not, they get a penalty. I think it's like 35 points or something like that. So it's a big move, but if you're not happy with the car, you know, it might be worth, taking that point loss and picking another car that might better suit your driving style. But yeah, Porsche definitely not. I don't think it's the car for here. I wouldn't select it unless it was the only one that I've driven, and you're just kind of used to it, and you just kind of suck it up. You know, you take your bumps when you have to, and try to just have a good finish. And so I think that's what Anthony Hutchinson's doing right about now, just kind of hanging in there and see if anything happens. And see if he can move back forward. You know, obviously sixth overall or sixth in class and 15th overall as he continues to battle here. You got a teammate behind him, but yeah, talk about teammates back out up front. It is Craig Jancic and Bryce. So maybe Craig messing with Bryce just a little bit, but you know, if I was them too, and obviously I would be like, let's just go like this for a while longer before we take the gloves off, because you know, we don't need Chris up in the fight here if we don't have to. So working together, kind of stretch out that lead before they kind of, I think, take the gloves off. And Craig, I think that's when you'll see Craig step out and try to make the pass there on Bryce. But doing a good job right now. But Craig's, I think, in the better spot right at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, right now it's certainly, they could go to battle and they can start going to work on each other. Right now they got enough of a lead. It is it's about 5 seconds back to Hamilton right now in third place. They've kind of left him out there by himself, and you know, they could start racing each other, and it looks like maybe they are on cue, as they're doing a little bit of a battling right now for first. Reiner holding on right now, but yeah, it's early yet. They still got, you know, about 15 minutes left of this race before we call it, and really that's really where it comes down to. I mean, you know, we've seen Hamilton have a longer pit stop. Maybe it was an error in judgment. Maybe he thinks this thing is going to go an extra lap, because, you know, an extra lap on some other tracks, you may be able to kind of pick that out early and save a little bit. But here, you got to save 4 minutes worth of fuel. That is not a short distance. And if you didn't take enough, you didn't take enough. And that's pretty much the bottom line. So, I mean, Reiner was leading for quite some time.
Yeah, I can't remember what the average fuel was per lap. I want to say, I'm pretty sure it's just under like a whole gallon to get around here. So definitely it goes by fast, you know, and they're running half tanks. Or they start with a half tank before they can get in there. So and pick the rest of the fuel that they need. So you can definitely get on a full tank in about 35 to like a good 40 minutes out of your tank. So if you came in any time after that first 10 minutes, you would never have to stop at all. So I think even with a full tank, that 45-minute era, it's like a stretch, you know. So you need to at least get a lap in, at least in two. And you can see some people coming in. You see Torres there, came in on lap 2. So Christian Torres sitting there in P number 7 after going into pits. You know, will he have to come back in? Did he get enough fuel in? So how hard does he run that car? There's a lot of things that come into play, throttle position and all that other things, and it's about managing that as a driver instead of just what they call light switch, you know, gas on or gas off, which you tend to do in these race cars, and especially in a simulator, because you don't get those G-forces, or you can't feel the motion of the car like accelerating, because you know, when you get in your car and you want to go 55 or in you're at a standstill, if you mash the pedal to the ground, it still takes a while for you to get the car there, and it's just as fast if you just kind of ease your foot through that gas pedal instead of just stopping on a light switch, because you're not going to go any faster with a lot of these cars. So, and it just uses more fuel. So it's all about throttle position as far as saving. That's why I said the draft is big. So like Craig Jancic sitting behind Bryce, you know, he should have the better option here. To they get him to walk away with possibly a win, if you know, saving fuel, excuse me, maybe saving tire just a little bit, because you can let up. You know that Bryce is going to break at the 150 mark. You just let up at the 250, and you're just braking a little bit later. And to close the gap, and when they're out front like they are right now, and I'll move over to those two as you see on 1-2 there. They have the, like they said, they have the ability. Craig has the ability right now to use that draft to kind of pull them into that corner and not lose any speed. which will allow him to save fuel, quite a bit of it, actually. So he's on the back bumper right now, and maybe looking to get around Bryce, but I don't think Bryce wants to give it up. I think Bryce is having a good time out front, Carl.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of wondering, fuel-wise, obviously, Reiner and Hamilton kind of shared the first half of this race out front, and each had about a half of a stint out front to utilize more fuel. Craig was kind of in the same boat. He was out there by himself, got very little bit of draft for the entire first run there. So maybe this is what Jancic needs. Maybe he took enough fuel to get out there at the same time as Reiner, but he needs this draft, and this maybe, I know you don't want to let Jancic by if you're Reiner, and especially if they're teammates and they're talking to each other, but, strategy-wise, does Jancic have enough? Maybe it would actually benefit Reiner to let him get out there in front, push that air, use up more fuel, and you never know. Maybe you end up getting him close to running out of fuel, because it seems like Jancic has no intention of making it around Reiner right now, and he's just content sticking right behind him. Maybe it's just team strategy, or maybe he just has to.
Yeah, there's any kind of possibility, obviously finishing here, and P2 would be, or P1 for Bryce would be big, and obviously, everybody likes to, try to get in there and do the best they can. So I don't see Craig holding back, but we've seen a lot of good running from Bryce over the past few weeks in some of these races, and just having a good time. And he's obviously ecstatic that he's found some pace with some of these cars, and to run up here with Chris and Craig, it's no easy task, I should say. So all three of them are proven to be fairly quick. You can see their I'll go ahead and change this here to their best time, so they see where everybody kind of sits. And Bryce actually having the fastest lap of the race already, and that wasn't a lap, but a couple of laps.
He just ran it last lap. Last time by, he ran the fast lap of the race, and Hamilton, not so much, ran a 4-minute lap time there, and bit of a, I'm not sure if he had a slowdown or what the case is, but he is now down 10 seconds behind Jancic, and can't even see these guys until he gets on the Mulsanne straight, and even then, it's quite a distance between second and third right now. Hamilton leading coming into the pits, and now 10 seconds behind the lead is kind of amazing what Reiner and Jancic have done in the second half of this race. And we're getting towards the late stages here. We got about 8 minutes left in this race, plus a lap. We'll see how everything turns out as far as when the clock hits 0 and when we get the white flag. Pineda, right, rounding out your top 5 overall in pro class, and in the pro class. In the M class, it is Cesar Colon Torres, Steve Santana, Glenn Lazan, Jim Dutton, and Brandon Potts for the top 5.
Can't believe the race is almost over. Just having to look up at the clock. Yeah, 38 minutes in. It's just amazing, obviously, when you're in the car and you're battling. It looks like maybe Todd Terville will slow down. He's off the gas there, heading down the straight. Also, looks like Anthony Hutchinson continuing to have issues and probably got to slow down as Todd passes him. We've seen go by. So Anthony not having what kind of race that he wanted to be. He's actually down 4 spots from the start line.
Yeah, he is down in 9th place in that class right now. This is the lowest we've seen. I mean, we've seen Anthony Hutchinson at 9th before. 9th place overall. This is 9th in class for Hutchinson, so this is definitely a down race for him. I believe these guys do have a drop race. I'm not sure if he's been in attendance for every race this season or not. Gonna have to take a look at that. I'll take a look at right now. Yeah, he has made every race so far this season. So, I mean, if he hasn't used his drop race on a worse one than this, it doesn't get much worse than this for Hutchinson. He's definitely not having the kind of driver we're used to seeing from him. And as the points leader here, I feel like we've talked to him every single race, I believe. I think he's been up in the podium at least in every single race, with a bunch of them being wins. But everybody has their off days. Sometimes a track just doesn't fit your eye. Sometimes maybe it's just the weather is just not, the type of race that you wanted. And you mentioned before, a lot of the schedule here follows the iRacing schedule, and it's good because of what I mentioned last week. You can get out there, you can practice on a track and get familiar with it, and figure out, you know, how the car likes to handle there, or maybe test out both of your cars and try and see, you know, which one feels better for that track. But getting out there in a race format and you know, kind of getting that dirty air here and there, and trying to figure out how to make passes, when you can make passes, how the fuel strategy can work out. That's what you can do if it follows the iRacing schedule, and you can get out there and maybe run 1 or 2 official races before the league race for that week. And not sure how many of these drivers take advantage of that, but it's certainly a benefit that you can do. But it looks like we have a pass for... Looking at the wrong thing. No, I'm looking at the wrong thing there, sorry. But we did have a pass for the lead overall, as Jancic, running the fastest lap of the race, made it past Reiner. And I think it's safe to say he's got enough fuel now, as he has got the hammer down.
Yeah, I mean, if he made that pass, he might have it. And Bryce might have just looked at his fuel gauge and said, this is cutting it close. We either need to slow it down, or I need to follow you.
Well, he has dropped behind and just trying to hang on to the draft at this point. 0.5 of a second behind, still within the draft, but a little bit slower there. And it looks like he's just going to be able to get enough of a draft down the most end straight here, heading down towards the first chicane. 11 seconds back now is Hamilton in third. So big gap right there, but a pretty good battle between 5th place Billy Wright, 6th place Dan Morera. Looks like they're starting to get a little bit closer to each other, and then not too far, actually pretty far behind them, but a 3-car battle between Christian Ortiz Torres, Tyler Torville, and Cesar Colon Torres. Cesar, of course, the M-Class leader here tonight. So he's got just you know, some more overall positions in front of him, but he's got about a 3.5 second lead over Steve Santana, who's putting on a bit of a charge here lately. About 2 seconds, almost 2.5 seconds faster than Colon Torres on that last lap. So he's on the move. He's got the bit between his teeth. He's got the McLaren wound up, trying to drag these guys back here, trying to get himself a chance for the win here tonight. He's gonna have to do it fast, because it's gonna be close to getting that white flag. It's a bit wide right there from Colon Torres. Doesn't look like he's slowing down. Looks like he's not going to get a slowdown on that one, but should be getting the white flag. If we didn't get it this last time by, we're probably going to be getting it this time.
We should be coming down off of Molson corner.
Jancic in the lead. Reiner trying to keep within the tow, trying to get in the mix there. Billy Wright making a move back on Dan Morera to take back over 5th place overall, as they're scrapping it out here to the end of the race. I want to thank everybody out there in attendance. If you haven't done so yet, hit that like and subscribe. Get you in touch with everything SCRN has to offer. As again, we got some great racing all throughout the week, league racing, and then this Friday we'll have the special event benefiting the NASCAR Hall of Fame Foundation. And then next Saturday night we will have the 3rd annual CRN Coke 300. Both races are still taking entries. If you're interested, the one this Friday is 120 laps with the next gens at Daytona, and then the following Saturday the Coke 300 is the 87 NASCARs at Charlotte for 300 miles. So if you're interested in either of those, get in contact with one of us, and we will point you in the right direction. But we got a good one here finishing out. Again, should be getting the white flag this time by. It is Craig Jancic in the lead. Bryce Reiner right behind him, trying to make an effort here, and making a heck of an effort as he dives to the outside here. Again, we said you can make it past in the forward chicanes here, but you got to have some big ones. And he falls back in line behind Jancic, and they should come out of the corner, see the white flag this time by. 1 more lap to go. Hard to find Barney. Looks like Barney's just keeping the flag in his pocket here. Is that not the official Barney there? Not sure, but should be 1 lap to go here as Jancic still holds the lead. Reiner, Hamilton, Pineda right for your top 5. And then you got Morera, Ortiz Torres, Colon Torres, Tyler Torville, and Steve Santana for your top 10.
Yeah, definitely. In that window, he should have.
I mean, I see Barney, but he's just kind of standing there. So maybe he fell asleep at the wheel once again.
I have no idea. I don't even have him on my screen. Looks like he's missing a wall. Go back to here though. And let's see who the race right now. And obviously, you talked about Dan Morera and Billy Wright battling it out. Less than a second. Obviously, the battle continues here as Jim Dutton is holding on to P number 3 by a bit of a second. But right in front of him is Steve Santana. So not too far. Another good run there by Jim. The battle that is ensuing and kind of at hand right now. His teammates Craig Jancic and Bryce Rayner kind of finishing things up here. Hopefully it's the last lap. And if not, somebody might be in trouble as far as fuel goes. But I think with the time winding down here, I think that's what you're going to see. But Craig taking a very defensive lane through there. Hopefully to slow down Bryce, but Bryce gets a great run off that corner.
Yeah, looking for a way around as they head down into Mulsanne for what should be the last time. And yeah, I mean, I guess just keep right behind him. You can just shove him right through the corner. You don't have to worry about it. But he's gonna stick to the outside, try and get a good exit out of the corner, tuck in, get a good draft. This is the opportunity. It may be the last opportunity of the race here for Reiner as they head down into Indianapolis. You want to try and get a pass done there because it's real tough getting a pass done in the Corvette corners, the Porsche corners, and certainly the Ford chicanes. So this could be the last opportunity here for Reiner. He's going to go to the outside. As long as he can keep it there through the chicane, through the kink, he's going to have the inside for Indianapolis. Going to get it wound down. He does. He's going to stick to the outside, which will give him the inside heading into Arnage, and he's going to hold on to it, but it's side by side, and Jancic gets a better run out of the corner, and it's going to be enough to take over the lead again. It's going to take a Herculean effort here now, I think, from Reiner to try and get back into the lead, to head down into the Porsche corners for the final time.
Okay, he had that moved on and just had that bad exit on that last corner there. And Craig was able to, you can see him letting up just a bit. But Craig
forces him into a bit of an error. And now he's going to try the crossover, battling through the Porsche curves. He may take a little bit of a bump and run here at some point. We'll see how frisky Reiner gets. Heading now into the Corvette curves. Not close enough just yet. That might be too wide. Might be a slowdown for Reiner. We'll see if he closes in one last time here, heading down into the Ford chicanes. I don't think it's going to be enough, and I think you see right there, Reiner backing off. It's probably a slowdown. So another one here for Jancic, the 88. Once again, back to victory lane here at Le Mans. Going to stretch out that lead even more in the point standings. Reiner's going to come home in second. But what's got to feel like an absolutely disappointing finish here for the 64 of Hamilton. He had the race lead, and he had it coming into the pits. But it's not going to be. It's going to be a third place, and only just as Herbert Pineda was putting on a bit of a charge there late. Coming across the line in fifth is Billy Wright. Dan Morera in sixth, still battling all the way down to the end here, but Cesar Colon Torres gonna get a very well-deserved win here tonight in class. This is gonna be a big 8th place finish overall for the 007. Steve Santana, great run for him as well, coming home in second in class, and Jim Dutton rounding out your podium.
Yeah, so good job by all the drivers. And as they finish up here, as looks like everybody was on the lead lap, I believe. A few drivers, but everybody kind of finishing up to the. I just thought maybe somebody ran out of fuel right there at the end. Let's see, but we'll go down the finishing order here. I still have a few drivers kind of finishing up where they're at here. You see Jason Potts finally coming across the line, and Little is back there. Jay Little coming out of the corner. He's going to finish up. Anthony Hutchinson. Oh, Carl, he's crawling.
And is he going to be able to make it? He is in 10th right now in class. And I think all of his teammates have already crossed the line as well. So it's not like he even has any teammates to help him out get through here. I mean, 10th is not great for him, but certainly 11th or 12th is going to be even worse. And here comes Stefan Price. We'll see if Price can make a late move in this race. And indeed,
he does.
I'm not sure if Hutchinson is going to be able to get to the end of this thing. William Burrell's still out there in the track, and Hutchinson can fall even further. He's not crossed the line just yet, and it looks like he is exited out. So as long as Burrell finishes this lap, he will get credited with 20th overall.
Wow. Tough break there by your points later for the AM for sure. And we talked about it. I talked about it earlier about making sure they had the fuel, and if you get out by yourself or out front, you can use a lot. And I know that I'm one of those drivers that I know when I run with my teammates for the endurance races, and I'm like, how many laps I got left? And I'm like Jimmy, you're running like 2 laps less than us because of how hard I am on the throttle. So, but yeah, here comes Burrell here. It looks like he's probably going to pick up this one spot here over.
And right there it is.
Yep.
Yeah, right there is the pass.
It clicks over. So
I know Burrell may not have the race that he wanted, but hey, he beat the points leader at the end of the race, so it's got to feel good. But that should wrap us all up there. So we'll get a complete rundown of tonight's results, and then we'll get to our interviews here. So Jimmy, why don't you give us that rundown?
Okay, quick rundown here. First place overall is going to be Craig Jancic. We had the Bryce Rayner there in P number 2. With a pretty good finish there as Bryce just overshot one of the last corners, putting him 2 seconds back. Christopher Hamilton with a disappointing maybe pit stop, and coming in P number 3. Herb Pineda in 4th, Billy Wright's in 5th, Dan Morera's in 6th. Christian Torres will finish in 7th, and then Cesar Torres with a great finish, 8th overall, first for the AM. So good job by the 007. The 22 of Tyler Torville is going to finish 9th. Steve Santana, not too far behind Caesar, and will finish in 10th. Come on. SDK don't want to play. There we go. No, obviously too far.
That's good to say.
Jim Dutton's in 11th, Glenn Lawson's in 12th, Devin Young in 13th, Brandon Potts in 14th. 15th will be Rand Dilemma. Jason Potts will be in 16th, Totterville in 17th, Jay Little in 18th, Stefan Price in 19th, William Burrell in 20th, Anthony Hutchinson finishes in 21st overall. Paul Bailey will be in 22nd, Stephen Pless, and then Frank Pisano having some issues. So definitely a bad run for a few drivers, but a pretty decent run for the others. Biggest mover of the race is going to be Brandon Potts, up 11 spots from the start. Obviously starting from the back, finishing 14th overall. Next will be Dan Morera, 9 spots up, finishing 6th. So good run there for Dan. Maybe getting that little better run from his initial start, but pretty good race here, Carl. I think there was some great battling, especially at the end, and I think fuel obviously playing a big part of it, but hey, fuel strategy is a big part of most racing, and here at LeMans, where you're full throttle all the time, you really can't take the chance to be just that little bit short.
No, and like I said, I mean, the lap times are so long here that if you think it's going to go 25 laps and all of a sudden it goes 26, you don't just have 4 minutes more worth of fuel just sitting in the tank usually. I mean, regardless of how good you're doing on fuel saving, regardless if you're tucked up behind somebody, saving a lap of fuel here is a big ask. But great job from the drivers out here. And looks like for the most part, we only had a couple of retirees from the race. So Great job by everybody just making it through here. As this is a can be a demanding track. It's maybe not the toughest one on the schedule, but it can be demanding with just so much high speed action here. We'll go ahead and start our interviews. We'll start off with the pro side of it and get our top 3 in here first. As we'll bring in, first of all, third place here tonight is going to be the 64 of Chris Hamilton. And Chris, I know you've had your shots, you've had your chances here with Craig Jancic and Bryce Reiner, obviously doing well this season. You had the points lead for a while. This one, I mean, if you're asking me, I got to feel like this is probably the most disappointing run that you've had here. And you shouldn't be saying that. It's still a podium, but it's got to feel disappointing here tonight.
I am resisting the urge to just sell everything right now.
Just rage.
I'm trying to contain it. You have no idea how. I don't know if it was evident. As soon as I saw it was 5 seconds, I just stopped. That's so be it.
Well, I mean, it really seemed like it all came down to the pit stop. I mean, you came in there, you were in perfect position, prime position. You came in with the lead into the pit stop. Did you take an extra lap of fuel, or was it some kind of error?
Yep.
Okay,
it was an extra lap of fuel, and this piece, iRacing auto fuel has screwed me the past 2 races. I had it at like 0.0, ran out of fuel. 0.2 ran out of fuel, so I went back to crew chief, and now I'm a whole lap over. Like, what do I gotta do to figure this out?
Well, now
I don't know what happened at the first couple ones where I just had it at 0 and it was fine. And now these next couple of them, I'm scratching my head. I don't know what to do. I am getting destroyed under braking. I'm getting destroyed coming out of corners. I'm getting destroyed in the pits. There's no saving this thing unless something crazy happens.
So obviously you have a few issues. Obviously, just kind of a heads up, and not just for yourself, but if I'm not mistaken, Chris, I think if I read something or heard something somewhere that the iRacing did update their fuel calculator, but there was something about clearing some sort of file. So your numbers would be correct. So it might, I haven't looked into it myself because I haven't really been out there very often, but it might be something to kind of look into if the frustration keeps piling up on you, bud.
It's not just CSRL either. I ran out of fuel in officials too. So I'm just like, okay, let me just get back. Can I get 30 feet past the flag? And now it wants me to go a whole extra lap, which at LeMans is a whole 4 minutes. So it's just I know we're trying to bring light to the situation. I am beyond frustrated right now. I'm just every single week is just, what do I got to do? And clearly it's not what I thought it was. So we're going back to the drawing board again. If we have to make something drastic, maybe I need a throttle map, maybe I need something, but I'm searching. I'm searching.
Well, you made a heck of an effort here. We do get to talk to you again. It's a third place, and I know it's disappointing for tonight, but either way, it could have been a lot worse out here as well. So either way, you get a podium here tonight. We got 3 more races left in the season. We'll see what you can do in the last 3 before we head out for this season. But before we let you go here tonight, who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
Huge shout out to Johan Seminario. I may not, like last time, I may not feel good, but damn, I look good. That Mustang, Blue Thunder Mustang is great. Hopefully, I like the last bit of tracks, except for Monza, on the schedule. So, but huge shout out to Craig and Bryce. They always put on clean shows. I can't thank them enough. And thanks to everybody else, CSRL. And thank you guys for the broadcast.
All right, buddy. Well, congrats again here on the podium, and see what you can do. See if you can figure out anything, and keep scratching your head and try and figure out what you can do to get back to these guys. But either way, good run here tonight. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.
That's your third place finisher here tonight. A very frustrated 64 of Chris Hamilton. Actually, 4 races left in the season, not 3. So my mistake on that one. But we'll bring in our top 2 here, and going to start off with maybe another disappointment here. It's going to be the 24 of Bryce Reiner.
Hey, Bryce, Jimmy, and Carl up in the booth. You copy?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Hey, good run here tonight. So you start off strong, able to get that Ford Mustang out front. excellent pit stop and strategy there with your teammate to kind of run away from your competitor, Christopher Hamilton. We know how it works, and when you got somebody that you can run with, and just kind of stay nose to tail for a while until you can kind of spread it out. But maybe a little bit disappointing is you seem to maybe had the better car over Craig, and he talked about how much better you were in some of the braking zones in the previous weeks, and he just kind of blew right coming out of the Porsche corners, the Corvette corners, excuse me, and shooting her just a little bit wide, and I believe just where the car was and being able to drive the track, I think you had to slow down.
Oh, I sure did. And no, overall it was a great race. I didn't know how exactly Chris, fell so far back from us. Because my calculator was telling me just add 11 something, and so I did. And when I came out, Chris wasn't going out before me, so that kind of shocked me. And then I get out right in front of Craig, and then when he tells you he's not even out yet, and then he doesn't have the draft, we kind of just work together and push. But I could tell you right now, those 2 last laps, I did not want him to be my teammate. Because I got into him, I don't even know what turn it was. I got into him right before all the S's started. And I was like, I don't really want to hit you for the win, all that stuff. So I let him have it. And then I screwed myself with the slowdown because I just got super tight and entered a little bit lower than he did, and dirty air and everything combined just took over, and the front end won a turn. So it really does sting. I felt like I needed to win because at that point I had the fastest time too. So that would have added an extra point or two, and Craig comes up and steals that too from me. So it stings a little bit, but overall it was a fun race for sure. Got to give a shout out to Craig for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you guys just put on one heck of a race, and to kind of you guys are so just. Your racing ethic is there. You're not trying to, even though they're digital cars, you're not out there just trying to send them into the wall, and which makes it fun to watch. And you can tell, obviously, because I've been in many officials, and you don't get those people behind the wheel. It's just a digital car. They're gonna send it, and they're overdriving the car, and that's usually what happens. So. But you guys put on a great show. You get a second place finish out here. You get those few more points there. It might slide you back up into that second spot in the point standing. I guess we'll see after everything is calculated when it's all said and done. But again, we want to say, before we let you go or get out of here, we want to say congratulations and give you a little bit of time for any shots you may have in that number 24.
Yeah, thanks, Jimmy. Yeah, it was a blast tonight. It really stings from last week. I know I was having some issues and hardware issues coming up to the start of the race, and I messed with something right before quali ended, and that wasn't the right choice, and that kind of took me out for the hunt for the championship, to kind of knock Craig off his pedestal per se. But all in all, gathered it back up for this week, did a lot of practice to make sure I was quick. Not as quick as Craig, though, in qualifying. But, I was up there for the rest of the race. So glad to be a part of the battle for sure, with Craig and Chris as well. But again, just really, really stings. But we'll push on to next week. I just want to thank you guys up in the booth for putting this on. It was probably one heck of a show you guys put on each and every week. So thanks to Core Racing Network and Carl, Jimmy, you guys do a great job. Admins too. It's great to have Jim back for a race, and Renan showed up. So that is pretty awesome to have them guys back as well. Shout out to Digital Sim Sports, Martin PC, Team Conti Sim Performance, and I want to thank my father for watching tonight as well. It always stings when he texts you after the race and says, "Oh, you could have had it." I go, "Yeah, I know. Thanks."
Rub it in.
Yep, I'm gonna rub it in a little bit more, but no, appreciate everything you guys do.
Well, yeah, definitely appreciate the shout outs. And again, obviously great show. Pretty good finish, if I want to say so myself. I know you'd rather be up there one more spot. Keep kicking Craig down when you can. But he bested you one more week, but a few more weeks to go. So again, congratulations, and we'll let you go celebrate with your friends and family.
Yeah, he knows I wanted to beat him. That's all. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome.
That is your second place finisher here tonight, the 24 Bryce Reiner. Top spot overall and getting himself another win here on the season is going to be the 88 of Craig Jancic. So Craig, kind of a tale of two races here. You get the pole, you lose it pretty much right away to both Reiner and Hamilton, and even for a little bit there to Herbert Pineda, and you kind of find yourself just off on your own for about 3 seconds behind the driver, but slowly but surely you reel him in before that pit stop.
I'm going to be honest. I have not been as exhausted as I am after one of these as I am right now. In maybe ever, but certainly as long as I can remember, man. I worked my beep off to get back into draft, and then immediately I threw it away with another slowdown. And then I did it all again. And the game of trying to take the perfect amount of fuel that's going to allow you to save just the right amount. I sat there and saved behind Bryce, and then I finally got enough of a run down that second Mulsanne with I think 3 to go, or like 2 point something to go, and then it was just try to use some oval prowess to pack air in places when he was getting close. And I think it worked the one time when we were going through the Porsche curves there, with like 2 to go. It gave me a little bit extra gap. And I knew that my final chicane was better than his, so I had pretty good hope that even if we were side by side into the very last set of corners there, I was hopeful that I was going to be able to clear. I don't know if it was going to be clean or not, just because of how out of control the cars are there. But it was going to be. It was enough of a show as it was. But if it wasn't for that little bit of contact that we had on 1 to go, where he checked up to make sure that I could collect it, which I do appreciate. I think that it would have probably been even a much tighter race than it was.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like you did everything you could to catch back up, and I gotta think, driving as hard as you had to in the first half of that race burned more fuel than you probably wanted to. I'm sure you wanted to save a little bit in that first half of the run, but you come out there right with Reiner. It sounds like Hamilton had some calculation issues, took an extra lap of fuel, so he fell back and kind of out of the mix of that thing. But you come out there right with him, and I kind of expected that. And I kind of, I said, if you're Bryce, I know you don't want Craig to go by you, but logistically, It may make sense because I figured you had to be saving some kind of fuel for that second half of the race.
I was, yeah. Bryce and I did take the exact same amount of fuel, which I think was probably, I know that he led, I'm going to guess maybe 3 laps, the first 3 laps after I got my slowdown. I think he led, and then Chris got by him, and it was maybe 2 laps that he was able to be behind. So there was a little bit of help that he was able to get before the pit stop. And I don't know if it maybe his gearing choice that contributed to the rest of it. I was pretty particular once I got back into Chris's draft. I was pretty particular to make sure that I started saving immediately, and I just happened to get even more closed in because of how tight they were. Chris lifting a little bit extra to make sure he doesn't kill Bryce into, corner entries means that he's just giving up a little bit of lap time. Yeah, he's saving some gas while he's doing it, but that's also just bringing me closer and closer because I don't have to worry about that. So the natural ebb and flow of this race, I mean, I don't know. I think last year at this time, I would have told you that I absolutely hated this track. But honestly, with the ebb and flow, the draft, the fuel save, it actually is pretty fun to drive too. And I've kind of had a 180 of opinion of this track. I think I've gained a lot of appreciation for it. for the type of product that it puts out here.
Well, she certainly made you work for it here tonight. That's for sure.
Oh
And whether it was the track or whether it was the errors that you made, whatever the case was, you had to work for it here tonight. And even on that last lap, I mean, I thought once you finally made the move to get around Bryce, that maybe you'd kind of shut the door and it'd be all said and done right there. But he definitely did not let you go, and he made you go all the way down until the Corvette curves before he made a mistake and kind of gave it to you right there at the end. But heck of a run out here, well deserved. You stretch out your points a little bit more. 4 races left in the season. Got to be feeling good sitting where you are.
Yeah, definitely. I know. I think we got 1 race between now and the rain race, which honestly is all the only thing that I'm remaining to be worried about. Yeah. Okay. Sebring next week. That's great. I love that. You can catch me in this beautiful Ford Mustang exactly 7 days from now. And then we have Imola in the rain, and that. We'll see what happens there. I'm setting the bar extremely low for myself with that.
Just show up, man. Just show up.
Yeah, just show up. That's all we gotta do, and we'll do it. And we're gonna have a good time. We might be firewall deep in a couple of the Armco barriers at Imola, but that's fine. We'll have a good time. And man, I love the quality of product that you guys at CRN are putting out for us, and that we're able to put on here at the front of these races lately has just been a dream come true, really.
Well, another win here, another notch in the belt, and one step closer to maybe repeating with another championship this season. But we got some time to figure that out yet. Before we let you go here tonight, who do you want to shout out to or thanks to?
Yeah, as aforementioned, Core Racing Network, best of the best, for real. Thank you. It's been an amazing partnership. I hope will continue for so many seasons beyond now. I love working with you guys, Carl, Jimmy. Thank you. Thanks to all the drivers that showed up here tonight, and all the viewers out there of Core Racing Network, and everybody that's playing this back, whether they're in the league or just Core Racing fans. Thanks for all your support. Thank you as well to my mom, my dad, Aunt Sandy, Chris, Anna, my girlfriend. Thank you. Thanks for letting me have the time of my life here on Wednesday nights and on Iracing as it is. Team Competition Performance, Digital Sim Sports, Martin PC, Studio 3. I'm just a guy, and I get to have fun a lot, and there's nothing really that's going to top that for me.
Well, maybe another championship at the end of the season could help top
right.
that. But,
you're right.
But either way, another win here in the belt. We'll let you go celebrate this one, and we'll see you next week at Sebring.
Copy, buddy. Cheers.
That is your winner here tonight, the 88 of Craig Jancic in the AM class. We'll switch it over to the pro class and overall, but we'll switch it over now to the AM class. And third place here tonight is going to be our fearless leader, Jimmy. It is Jim, the driver of the 83.
Hey, Jim, it's Jimmy and Carl up in the booth. You copy?
I do. How are you guys doing? Can you hear me?
We can hear you. And it's good to have you back up in the booth. And you earned it here at LeMans. Obviously, a very long track, very lengthy amount of time out there. Some great battling back and forth, and you find yourself in a spot here to grab that podium here at LeMans. It's a well earned. Obviously, you had some good battles back there, but kind of give us a rundown on how your race was, as 45 minutes can either be long or really quick here.
So it was long, I would say. I got spun out, I think lap 2, and kind of had to battle my way back up a bit. Glenn and I had some great battles, though. Glenn Lozon, it's fantastic to race against, and the other guys here as well. Cesar Torres and Steve Santana. But yeah, no, just it was fun once I got my feet under me again, but laps 3 and 4 were a little bit frustrating. Oh well, I'm here talking to you guys, so obviously all is well that ends well.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's you just got to work your way through those hurdles. You know, I almost, league races to me when I run them are more like an endurance event, obviously, where you just got to keep going. You know, no matter what happens, you get back out there, you do the best you can, and you try to come back, and you just hope you're in a situation that your competitors are have the same issues that you do, and with you guys breaking yourselves down in two distinct divisions within the league, there it does help. You're racing your competitors, and it's pretty close as far as like skill gap, and it gives you the opportunity to put yourself in a good position. But it was great to see you running out there. Great to see you get another podium here and come up and talk to us, obviously. And as we're constantly looking forward to Wednesdays and see what kind of product or just race that you're all going to have, and see you all having a good time. So wanted to get you up here and say congratulations, and also give you a little time for any shouts you might have in at number 83.
So a shout out to you guys first and foremost for doing a fantastic job as always. Shout out to the admin for keeping the league up and running in my stead. I really do appreciate Craig, Colin, Renan, Bill, and Rich. They're so nice to have in my corner here to help make this happen. Yeah, that is about it right now. Shout out to Ford for making that Mustang able to come back from where it was, I guess. And thank you guys, of course.
Well, we always appreciate the shout outs, that I'm sure everybody else does. And like I said, again, congratulations on the third place here in class. Looks like 11th overall, and hopefully we'll see you next week.
Sounds good. See you then.
That is your third place finisher in class, 11th overall, the 83 of Jim Dutton. Second place in class and a top 10 overall, the 343 of Steve Santana. Steve, we haven't talked to you since race number 1 at Watkins Glen. There you come away with a 14th overall. It was good enough for a podium. Here you take one more step up the podium. You come up in second place. Not only that, top 10 overall, buddy.
Yes, sir. Yes, it's great to be back here. Unfortunately, I'm a fireman, and sometimes in the week I can't make the Wednesday races. So when I can, I'm really enjoying them. Tonight was just an amazing race for me. I'm pleased with my performance. Everything just kind of fell in place. Because Monday morning, when I realized we're doing the LeMans setup instead of the fixed, I was doing 407s. So I get about an hour in the mornings to practice, watch a few videos, and it just kind of all fell together today.
Well, first and foremost, want to thank you for everything that you do as a fireman. But I gotta say, I mean, we've seen you out here before. We've seen you have some pace here and there, and kind of some tracks that just seem to fit your eye. Tonight was kind of just on a different level. I mean, what was it about tonight? Was it the track? Was it the McLaren? I mean, what was it that it really just set you apart here tonight?
The other night, a couple races ago, I was actually thinking of ditching the McLaren because it was like just something's not right with it. It doesn't feel right. And it's been my main car since it came out. I figured, like everybody else, you hop around cars. I said, I'm just going to drive the McLaren so I get used to it and then focus on the slow and fast outs and feeling the car, the slip angles, all the good stuff you hear about. And the race this morning, everything just kind of clicked. So I'm thinking, okay, this is nice. And then in qualifying, I literally finally got a good lap in that put me in a good spot with about 5 minutes to go. So I was kind of getting stressed and worried. And then again, me and Caesar were running together 1 and 2 for a while, and everything was just, I guess you just kind of get in a zone. Everything was feeling right. The car was feeling good. The traction, it was a good run.
Well, yeah, I mean, maybe it's like me when it comes to my bowling equipment or my golf equipment. You get to the point where you just start cursing it out or running it down, and then all of a sudden it does well for you, and it's almost like it's saying, I'm sorry it was so bad. Maybe that's what the McLaren was doing for you here tonight, and just apologizing for being so bad.
Like Happy Gilmore, I'm sorry, baby, I didn't mean to be bad.
Exactly. Well, heck of a run here tonight. Top 10 overall. I mean, of course, it's great finishing, on the podium and in second place here in the class, but tell me what the top 10. I mean, this has got to be, pretty sure it's the highest run you've had here in the series.
Yeah, it's a pinnacle for me. I mean, not only moving up to P2 on the podium, but being in the top 10, racing with some of these pro guys that are just crazy fast. Some good close racing even in this track where a lot of times you tend to spread out a little bit. It just, for me, the times you get frustrated when things aren't working right, and you're trying to self-train yourself, watch videos, try to learn, and focus on the right and the wrongs, and it feels like it's slowly coming together. I'm not looking in the rearview mirror like I used to. I did once when Jim was coming up behind me, and the guys in Discord with me were yelling at me, "Stop looking in the mirror." It's like, okay, and then I started catching up the group. So yeah, it's kind of rewarding that everything you try to do as a sim racer feels like it's slowly falling into place, and it's a reward to yourself in a way.
Well, it certainly worked out here for you tonight. Great run out here, great top 10, great second place in the class and everything like that. So heck of a run. See if you can keep it up for the last 4 races. But for the time being, we'll let you celebrate here tonight. Who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
As always, my wife, she's my rock. She, puts up with the sim racing, watches the race sometimes when I'm down here, and and the guys in Phoenix Discord that I chat with who help keep me focused when I start getting a little worked up, and realize like just race and it'll all work out. So, and you guys for putting on the races and calling it like you do. It's just a great time. It's a great group.
Well, certainly, this is a good one for Mrs. Santana to watch. So hopefully she caught this one and got to see you up here having the best race of the season so far. Congrats again. Go celebrate. We'll see you next week at Sebring.
Thanks, guys.
That is your second place finisher in the AM class, 10th overall, Steve Santana in the 343. Last but not least, your winner here in class, and maybe looking to get himself a little bit smiley, like the car out there, and get himself up into the mix here in the points. The 007 of Cesar Colon Torres.
He's Cesar doing a call up here, and that's the first thing we were following the car. Something was going on with you, and you were racing back there. And I was like, is his car got a smiley face on it?
And, you gotta give him a smile in the rear view.
I can only think of right now that you got the big, either as big or bigger grin than what was on that Ford Mustang here, getting that the win here for the AM part of the league here, and 8th overall. So great run overall at which can be a difficult track, and it can punish you when you don't hang around. But you had some really good close battling out there with not only with with the AM drivers, but with some of the pro drivers looking to get around them there. You finished in front of Tyler Torville, so definitely some great running out there by you. So give you a little time to kind of run down your race and tell us how it went for you.
Man, really good race out there, tiring race. Love this track. This is one of my favorite tracks apart from Road Atlanta for sure. But very fun, very tiring, long one. Got to think about setting up into a lot of corners. And the battling that I got into was really, really fun. And even I got kind of a teammate out there, Steve. We're kind of part of the same racing group. So I got to, give him a little bit of nudging, a little bit of help, and talk to him too. So it was just an overall great race. Had a huge mistake in the first lap going into Indianapolis. Was not ready for the accordion and got caught out there, but luckily didn't end up in the back of Jim and ruin anybody's race. So overall, this was I can't be any happier. Like you said, there's a huge grin on the car, huge grin on my face as well.
Yeah, it's definitely obviously out there. It's just good to see that you're having a good time out there, and obviously the Ford being pretty strong here is obviously the pro drivers all in it, and some of the other cars just didn't seem to have what it took here tonight to get the great finishes that was needed. So out of the top 3 for the pros, Fords. Out of the top 3 for the AM guys, Fords with 1 McLaren. So definitely was the right car here for tonight. Woo! But again, just every week we do this, and we get to see drivers out here and battling and having a good time, and it makes me jealous just a little bit. Like I want to be on the track because I enjoy road racing like no tomorrow. But I also love it, being able to put on a show for your friends and family and whatnot. But so from CRN, obviously we want to say congratulations on the awesome, great run tonight, and give you some time for any shout outs that you might have on that 007.
Thank you guys. I want to give a shout out to my girlfriend, my family, the team, everyone that was in the Discord with me, Brandon, Steve, Dobe, Jason, and Brandon Potts and Pal. I need to separate them both. I want to say thank you guys for all the strats, the pits, the helps, everything that you guys give me. CRN, thank you guys for the broadcast every week. CSRL, thank you guys for hosting this amazing racing. And man, just want to thank everyone else on the track for keeping it clean, keeping it safe. And it was fun out here, man. Great race at LeMans. Got to bring some American muscle out to France and show them how it's done.
Definitely good to have a variety of cars these days for sure. Next week you guys are off to Sebring, so bring the American muscle back to America, and we'll see if what you can do next week out there at Sebring in the 007. But again, we just want to say congratulations, and we'll let you go celebrate with your friends and family.
Thank you guys. You guys have a good night. Thanks for everything.
You too.
That is your winner here in the AM class, the 007 of Cesar Colon Torres. I want to thank everyone out there once again for tuning in and just enjoying this with us. I mean, it's a blast. I know Jimmy said there's some times that we definitely wish we were out there in the field with these guys and battling it up, and there's probably some times that they're happy that we're not and that we're up here in the booth. But it's a blast being up here and putting these races on for these drivers out here, for all their friends and family, for everyone out there in CRN Nation. So if you haven't done so yet, hit that like and subscribe. Help these guys get their product out there and help them kind of move up there in the YouTube algorithm and get their show out there a lot more, because they deserve it. But I want to thank our series sponsors here as well. Once again, it is, if it wants to open for me, it's 40 Racewear. They are the makers of just closed. Okay, there we go. The makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 sim racing shoes, custom engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, while still providing the comfort needed for those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products, including the original racing gloves for your feet. For Martin PC, they are focused on providing high-quality PCs, rigs, and components at an affordable price. Your investment in sim racing is exactly the same as racing with an actual car, and they take that same methodology at Martin. From the engine PC to the chassis rig, pedals, wheels, and shifter, you deserve components that match your desire to compete. Thank you again for everybody tuning in here. Next week, we head back home to America and to Sebring. It is going to be a fun one there for sure as we get closer to the end of the season and crowning some new champions here in CSRL. But for myself and Jimmy from the beautiful Circuit de la Sarthe, we'll see you at the track.
Peace.